Hello and welcome to another episode of Supreme Court Judgments of the Week on Verdictum. In this segment, we bring to you the most interesting judgments passed by the Supreme Court during the previous week. Let's begin, starting with Raja Nayakar versus State of Chattisgarh. In a recent ruling, the Supreme Court overturned the conviction of a murder accused, stating that mere strong suspicion cannot be a ground to convict an accused, but in fact, it is the duty of the prosecution to prove the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt. The matter was placed before a bench of Justice B.R. Gavai and Justice Sandeep Mehta in appeal and challenged the 2015 judgment of the Chattisgarh High Court, which had upheld the conviction granted to accused Raja Nayakar by the trial court in 2011. The case involved the murder of Shiva alias Sanvar, whose half-burnt body was discovered near a temple on October 21, 2009. The prosecution contended that Nayakar, driven by a family dispute, committed the murder and disposed of the body with the assistance of others. The prosecution's case relied on the recovery of various items at the instance of the accused, linking him to the crime. However, the apex court raised concerns about the lack of conclusive evidence in this regard and emphasized the need of proof beyond reasonable doubt. The judgment highlights that Nayakar's statements recorded under Section 313 of the Code of Criminal Procedure and the property seizure memo were not conclusive evidence, and that false or non-explanation cannot serve as an additional link in cases relying on circumstantial evidence. The court pointed out that the prosecution failed to establish the guilt of Nayakar based on circumstantial evidence. The court highlighted the landmark 1984 judgment of Sharad Birdi Chand Charda versus State of Maharashtra at this juncture and stated that it is well to remember that in cases where the evidence is of circumstantial nature, the circumstances from which the conclusion of guilt is to be drawn should be in the first instance be fully established. All the facts so established should be consistent only with the hypothesis of the guilt of the accused. The primary grounds for the appeal included assertions that the findings were speculative and lacked concrete evidence. The appellant Nayakar argued that the deceased's body was not definitively identified and his guilt was based on conjectures. The Supreme Court, agreeing with these arguments, pointed out that recovery of a blood-stained weapon alone is not sufficient for conviction. The court noted that suspicion, regardless of its strength, cannot replace the requirement for proof beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the top court quashed the judgment of the High Court and directed the immediate release of Nayakar. Central Bureau of Investigation versus Kapil Wadhwan and another. In the present case, the Supreme Court clarified that pendency of further investigation related to other accused or the production of additional documents does not render a charge sheet invalid. And neither does it entitle the accused of default bail under Section 167, subsection 2 of Code of Criminal Procedure on the ground that the charge sheet was incomplete or not filed in compliance with Section 173, subsection 2 of CRPC. The ruling came in response to an appeal filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation challenging a Delhi High Court order that granted default bail to Kapil Wadhwan and Dheeraj Wadhwan and other accused individuals. The case involved allegations against the Wadhwan brothers, who were in the capacity of the chairman and managing director of Dewan Housing Finance Corporation Limited and 12 others. The accused were charged with Section 120B, read with Sections 490, 420 and 477A of the Indian Penal Code. The said provisions dealing with the offences of punishment for criminal conspiracy, criminal breach of trust by public servant or by banker, cheating and dishonestly inducing delivery of property, and falsification of accounts respectively. Section 13, subsection 2, read with Section 13(1)(d) of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, dealing generally with the criminal misconduct by a public servant, was also invoked against the accused persons. The accusations revolved around a criminal conspiracy to cheat a consortium of 17 banks led by the Union Bank of India by inducing them to sanction loans of approximately 42,000 crores. The accused were alleged to have misappropriated a significant portion of the funds amounting to 34,000 crores, causing wrongful loss to the banks. After the accused were arrested, an application for default bail was filed before the special court, which was granted. The CBI, dissatisfied with the decision, approached the High Court in opposition. But the High Court upheld the order of the special court, and thus the matter reached the apex court. The Supreme Court, taking into account the facts and circumstances of the case, stated that the charge sheet was filed within the prescribed time limit, and the accused cannot claim the statutory right of default bail on the grounds that the investigation concerning other accused was pending. The court noted that though ordinarily all documents relied upon by the prosecution should accompany the charge sheet, nonetheless, for some reasons, if all the documents are not filed along with the charge sheet, that reason by itself would not invalidate or vitiate the charge sheet. The court further said that it is well settled that the court takes cognizance of the offence and not the offender. The top court, allowing the appeal of CBI, set aside the previous order. The apex court also clarified that these observations should not influence ongoing proceedings in the special court or high court on their merits. Miriam Fudin and another versus State by Adugodi Police Station and another. In the instant case, the Supreme Court quashed a first information report lodged by a husband against his wife, accusing her of forging his signature to obtain a passport for their child. A two-judge bench comprising Justice Suryakant and Justice Dipankar Datta delivered the verdict, highlighting the nuances between deceitful acts and unlawful actions. The court observed that every deceitful act cannot be said to be unlawful, just as not every unlawful act is deceitful. The matter came to the top court in appeal to a judgment of the Karnataka High Court, by which a criminal revision petition challenging the order of the additional Chief Metropolitan Magistrate was dismissed. The factual background revealed a troubled marriage between the two parties, the husband residing and working in the United Kingdom. Initially, the husband refused to take the wife to UK. However, she later accompanied him. But after reaching the United Kingdom, the husband allegedly abandoned her and coerced her to reside with her sister-in-law. Owing to the circumstances, she returned to India. Subsequently, a child was conceived during the marriage and a boy was born. In 2009, the wife sought to obtain a passport for her minor son. And then the same was issued and the husband obtained a sponsorship from his brother-in-law. However, the wife alleged of being subjected to coercion and torture by the husband during his visit to India. The wife filed a complaint in this regard, and allegedly in furtherance, the husband filed a complaint against the wife, accusing her of forging signatures on the child's passport application. The Supreme Court took into account the evident discord between the husband and wife, which resulted in numerous complaints and legal proceedings. The court observed that the grant of passport to the minor child did not confer any benefit upon the wife, nor did it result in any loss or damage to the husband. Further, the wife's motivation to procure a passport was not rooted in deceit. The Supreme Court criticized the investigating agency for acting mechanically without substantive evidence and highlighted that the basic elements of cheating and forgery were conspicuously missing. Referring to the landmark judgments such as Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India and K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India, the court stressed upon the importance of aligning with the child's dignity and constitutional rights. The court noted that the conduct of the husband infringes upon the fundamental right of the child to travel abroad. In furtherance, the court held that the continuation of the criminal proceedings against the wife is nothing but an abuse of the process of law. The court also directed the husband to pay the cost of Rs 1 lakh to the wife within 6 weeks. Accordingly, the FIR was quashed and the judgments of the High Court as well as the trial court were set aside. With that, I am Anya Singh. Thank you for watching Verdictum. Your time and engagement are greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And download the Verdictum app on iOS and Android for latest legal news.